He is a great God. The psalmist here, it's David, here at Psalm 124, does what we should all do. He sits down and he looks back over what God has already done. He takes inventory of how good God has been to him. And as we come to the end of this year, we need to sit down and take inventory of what God has done for us from January 1 to this point in this year. Just ought to take inventory. You know inventory. You know some of y'all took inventory this week when you got ready to prepare that big old meal. You took inventory. You wanted to make sure, okay, I got my paprika. All right, I got my season. Okay, I'm gonna need a few more onions and a few more bell peppers, and you went down your list of what you had. You didn't have to purchase, but what you needed, you took inventory. Some of us are on jobs at the end of the year. You got to take inventory of whatever stock there is. When I was working in retail, we had to take inventory. End of the year, we took inventory and we tried to sell as much stuff as we could. It was at Service Merchandise many years ago. That store ain't even around anymore. But we tried to sell everything because the more stuff we sold, the less stuff that we had to inventory. We had to inventory that stuff and give an account, and then we had to go back and reconcile what we had sold to what remained, and then we had to do our theft reduction, they called it. So if we had 100 of these items and we sold 50 of them and we only got 2 left, that means they got some stealing people. And I don't necessarily mean folks coming in stealing. I mean some employees was putting their hands on some stuff. But we had to take inventory. And we were taking that to find out what we had, what we lost, and what we were going to need, what we were going to have to purchase to move into next year. Well, we take inventory over what God has done for us, so we can look back and say, man, he's been good. And my inventory tells me that if he did all of this last year, but I can't wait till next year. I don't have to put anything up because just like he supplied everything I needed last year, he's going to supply everything I need next year. But we ought to take inventory and look back over what God has done. And notice what David does, and I love this. David says, it's not just about me and what God has done for me, but he says it's about what God has done for us. And y'all hear me time and time again to say our relationship with God is not our individual relationship, but it is the community of believers. When the disciples asked Christ how to pray, he said, well, you pray, our Father, who art in heaven. Here, David says, had it not been for the Lord who was on my side. Does he say mine? No. He says, had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. David said, look, I'm not just praying for me. I'm praying for all of us. I'm just not thanking God for what he's done for me, but I'm thanking God for what he's done for all of us. And he says, join me in this praise. Think back what the Lord has done for us. And he says, had God not been there, we certainly wouldn't be here. Because everything that came up against us as a church, you as an individual, its intent was to take you out. Its intent was to make sure that you wouldn't be sitting here on the 5th Sunday of November talking about God being a great God. Its intent was to cause you to just give up and say, you know what, I quit. This, it doesn't make sense. It's one problem after another, one setback after another setback, and it just does not make sense, so I'm just going to quit. Throw both hands and say, that's it, I'm done. But through it all, if you know him, you realize that every trial just becomes your testimony. Had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. I love it. I love it. He says, we've got to learn how to be thankful for what God has already done. See, we spend too much time asking God to do something else, to do more, to bless us again, to open this door, to make a way, instead of looking back and saying, you know what? He's already done so much. My Lord, God has really been good to us. He's been good to me, and he keeps on waking me up every morning. He keeps on making a way out of no way. So he brings their attention to God and what God has done. He says, had it not been for the Lord who was on our side, suppose he'd been on somebody else's side. Suppose you hadn't been on his side. He's making it clear to them that being on God's side has made all the difference. Just knowing that is enough to tell him thank you. Just knowing that if I'm on his side, I'm on the winning side. And then he walks them through the things that God has done. Verse 2, he says, had it not been for the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us. Inventory. First thing he says in verses 2 and 3 is, others have attacked us. I don't know who, I don't know when, but at some point this year, somebody may have come after you. Somebody may have come after you with everything that they have, trying to destroy you, trying to tear you down, trying to hurt you, whatever it is that they could do, they tried to do, not to lift you up, but tried to tear you down. So he says, let's look at what God has done for us. When the enemy attacked, he says, when men rose up against us, then they would have swallowed us alive when their anger was kindled against us. So they would have destroyed us had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. And at each verse, he points us back up to verse 1. He says, them people would have killed us. They would have taken us out. And I don't know who your battle was with this year. And you don't have to look back and celebrate the fact that maybe it didn't turn out the way they wanted it to turn out. But you can celebrate the fact that God brought you through it. Not celebrating somebody else's demise, because you know when folks go around setting traps for God's people. All right, I'm going to leave y'all alone. He says, God, They sat, they schemed, they wrote it out. They got on the phone and called their little buddies, their little posse together, their little crew. And they tried to do everything they could to get rid of me. I mean, they came, they don't even like each other. They can't stand each other, but to come after me, they teamed up. But had it not been for the Lord who was on our side, David is saying they would have won. I would not be here had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. Israel, we would have been wiped off of the map a long time ago had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. Redwood, we would not be here for 100 and almost 70 years now had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. One attack after another attack after another attack, and all David says is, look back at what God has done. Had it not been past tense, had God not been there, our enemies would have won. He deals with man, verses 2 and 3. He talks about what would have happened had God not been there. Then he begins to deal with natural disasters. Look, verse 4, he says, then the waters would have engulfed us. The stream would have swept over our soul. Then the raging waters would have swept over our souls. We're dealing with Lorraine right now. And it ain't much. But can I tell you, a little rain can do a whole lot of damage. When I was coming here this morning, I was coming through the curve after the Governors, the curve right there at 22nd on the interstate. And as I was approaching it, I saw the emergency trucks that help folks, roadside assistance. There was one of them behind me when I got up, and another one got on in front of me, and then I saw blue lights up ahead. So I got all the way over to the right lane. I said, I ain't got time for this. I'll be late. I'm trying to get to church. And when I got into the curve, I saw a car that was completely turned around on the side of the road going this way. Now, I'm going north. The interstate's going north. It was a young lady. She had somehow, in that curve, car spun all the way around, and she was headed in the wrong direction. Just a little rain. Now, she looked okay. She was scared, I'm certain, to go through that. But she was still here. Just a little rain can destroy your life. Just a little rain. And we look back over hurricane after hurricane. And God has brought us through. Well, it's been 20 years since Katrina. God has brought us through. I know some of us, I don't even think of the flood of 2016. But those who went through it, those who lost everything, lost their homes, had to rebuild all the furniture, had to drywall, had to go through. Every time it rains hard, from what I understand, those who went through that start looking, oh Lord, here we go again. Here we go again. But had it not been for the Lord who was on our side, 2016 was 9 years ago. And if God brought you out of that to this point, he'll certainly bring you through whatever it is you have to face in even weather, natural disasters, we got to know God brought us through. Had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. Some people lost everything and lost their minds in the process. There's some folks who have yet to recover from what they went through mentally in 2016. But God kept us. Had it not been for the Lord who was on our side, hurricanes, they're tearing the roofs off of homes, knocking over trees, and we get out there afterwards and clean up and go on about our business. Not even giving it a second thought. Had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. Because every storm has the capacity to destroy everything God has blessed us with. It has the capacity to take us out. Had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. So even when we have natural disaster, even when storms come, is what he's saying, look back over the storms he's already brought us through. So now we can say, well, God, if you did that, I know what you can do with this. But see, if you concentrate on where you are, you will lose sight of what God has already done. Then you have anxiety, not realizing, you know what? The last storm was a lot worse than this storm. And if he brought me out of that one, he'll certainly bring me through this one. So we have the attack of others, natural disasters, and then he even talks about the attacks from animals. Look at verse 6. Verse 6, he says, blessed be the Lord who has not given us to be torn by their teeth. So even when there are the attacks not only of human beings, but of animals, you got to realize the wilderness that they were in, how they came through that. We painted as a nice little picture of God being a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, and them not having to deal with stuff. But baby, they dealt with some stuff. Whatever wild animals were out there, they had to deal. It doesn't say it anywhere, but I'm sure that more than a couple of them were carted off by a lion or a bear or something, snatched them and took them away. You know what God is saying, or what David is saying here? Even animals have to obey God. God has power over those things that the enemy sends to take us out. Amen, lights. Only reason why that dog ain't catch you. I was on my bike. You can't bike that fast. That wasn't it. That car just happened to be there for you to jump on the hood. It just happened to be there. He keeps us. Even when we don't even realize he's keeping us. Even when we dismiss it out. Oh, that wasn't that old dog. That old dog done bit some people, but he ain't bite you, did he? God, had he not been on our side. He's saying God has kept us from being victims and from victimhood. He's kept us from that. And for that, we give him glory. We're thankful unto him, he says, and we bless his name. Blessed be the Lord, who has not given us to be torn by their teeth. He protects us even from traps that have been set for us. Verse 7, he says, our soul has escaped as a bird out of the snare of the trapper. The snare is broken, and we have escaped. A trapper is someone who is experienced in catching birds. They're experienced in setting traps for, in this case, birds or animals and even people to fall into. Yeah. You don't know it or not, but there have been some experienced trappers in your life, and they set traps. As a matter of fact, somebody might be setting a trap for you right now. They might right now be, putting their trap together. God said, here's a professional trapper. This is what this person does for a living. He trapped everybody else. But when it came to you, you escaped his trap. But had it not been for the Lord who was on our side, we would have fell into the same trap that captured everyone else. He's looking back over what God has done for Israel and saying we have so much to be thankful for. Because our God is a great God. He's a great God. He is a great God. Over and over, as he takes the inventory, he's reminding them of God's ability to keep them. And if you know that God will keep you, why would you turn to anyone else or anywhere else? It does not make sense. It's just not logical is what he's saying. He's kept our souls. He's kept us intact. God has done these wonderful things for us. Finally, at verse 8, he goes back. That word "our," time and time again, as we see it used throughout this psalm. He begins in verse 1 with "our," and he closes out verse 8 with "our." Because he wants to keep their minds on community. He wants to keep their minds on the fact that God takes care of all of us. Not to get caught up. David could have been celebrating what God had done for him. But he's celebrating what God has done as a whole. He says, our help is in the name of the Lord. God's ability to do great things in the future are based on God's ability to do great things in the past. So he says, our help, our helper is God. And had he not been on our side, we would not have made it to this point in the year 2025. Because a trap would have been set and we would have fallen into it and saw no way out. Somebody would have done something that caused us to lose it or take us out of here. Some natural disaster could have ended things for us. But he says, I don't care where we look on the spectrum, had God not been there, we would not be here. He's just reminding them, as he reminds us, that all of our help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He says, who made it? God made it. And if God made heaven and earth. He can certainly control whatever happens in our lives. He can certainly deal with the little stuff. It's big to us, but the little stuff we deal with, God can certainly do that if everything that we see was created by him. Thanking God for what he has already done. As we enter Advent, just take some time as we come to the close of this year. Just sit down in a quiet place and take inventory of what God has done. If you got time, you might want to go further back than 2025. You might want to go back to when he saved you, when stuff started falling apart and you couldn't find a friend. You might want to think maybe your hell wasn't in 2025. Maybe your hell was in 2010. And you look back 15 years ago and say, God, I thank you because you brought me out of that mess, and that mess could have easily taken me out. There are so many things that we can thank God for. I remember as a child, old Joseph brought his mama's gun out the house one summer to show it to us, and we were playing with the gun, and Kirk grabbed the gun and pointed it at me. This thing ain't loaded, and pulled the trigger, and Joseph hit his hand and the gun went off in the air, and we all ran. I could have been killed as a child had it not been for the Lord who was on my side. As a young man, I was, 20, 21 years old. Back then, you could buy alcohol at 18, so don't y'all say nothing. I had legally purchased some stuff and was driving when I shouldn't have been driving. And was coming up on the light. It was green. All of a sudden, it turned red, and I could not stop, and I'm sliding across the street. There was a telephone pole right in front of me. I was going right into that pole. I don't know how, but the car went in the opposite direction. Had it not been for the Lord who was on my side, I could have hit that pole and been dead 2 times. I know what the Lord can do, because I can take inventory of what he's already done. There have been times in all of our lives where the enemy has tried his best to take us out, but God has kept us. Had it not been for the Lord who was on our side, we would have been taken out of here a long time ago. And maybe not the physical, but the mental. Because I know some folks I grew up with, sharp, smooth. I saw one, I guess a couple of months ago. I was at my mama's house, and she was still here, and I was out sweeping the front of her house, and he passed by, and he looked at me and said, "Tick." Man, I don't know you. I said, "Yeah, bro." We kept talking and talking. I said, "Oh, this Munjay, I know who this is." Looked like he's 75 years old. We grew up together. And crazy as I don't know what. No, I'm just telling you what they say. What they say, crazy as a Bessie bug. That could have been me. Could have been me. Just happened to be him, but it could have been me. Had it not been for the Lord who was on my side. Don't be too quick to look down on people, because it could have been you had it not been for the Lord who was on our side. Take inventory and recognize how good God has been to us. He's a great God. There is nobody like him. Nobody. Not one.